Most people think distraction is the problem, that they lack discipline, that they need more focus, that something is wrong with them. So they try to fix it. They remove distractions. They push harder. They try to force themselves to stay focused. But it doesn't last. Because what they are trying to fix is not actually the problem. What if distraction is not the thing ruining your life, but the thing trying to show you something you're not seeing? Because here is something simple. You don't get distracted randomly. There is always a reason. And if you don't understand that reason, you will keep fighting the wrong thing. Think about it. You sit down to do something important. Work, study, plan your life. And then you reach for your phone. You open another tab. You suddenly feel like doing something else. And immediately, the conclusion is, I can't focus. So you try to fix that. You tell yourself to be more disciplined, more serious, more focused. But here's the part most people don't question. Why did you leave in the first place? Because it didn't just happen. Something shifted. And instead of noticing that shift, you just reacted to it. Distraction is not random. It is a response. Something you felt that you didn't fully stay with. Right before you got distracted, something usually changed. Maybe the task became difficult. Maybe you got bored. Maybe you felt unsure of yourself. Maybe you started thinking, what if I am not good enough for this? And instead of sitting with that feeling, you moved away from it. That movement is what you call distraction. But here is where it gets interesting. You don't get distracted in every situation. There are things you can focus on for hours. Conversations, certain videos, things that naturally pull your attention. So it is not that you can't focus. It is that your focus changes depending on what you are engaging with. So the real question is not, why can't I focus? The real question is, why here and not there? Because distraction is selective. It shows up more around things that feel unclear, uncomfortable, or meaningless. And that tells you something important. This is not just about discipline. It is about your relationship with what you're trying to do. The real issue is not distraction. It is disconnection from what you're doing and from how you actually feel about it. When those things are not aligned, your mind looks for a way out. Not because you are weak, but because something doesn't sit right. And instead of questioning that, you label it as lack of discipline. So you try harder. But trying harder on something that already feels off doesn't create clarity. It creates resistance. And this is where most people get stuck. They keep forcing themselves without understanding themselves. They try to control their attention without asking what their attention is reacting to. But what if instead of fighting distraction, you started listening to it? Not following it blindly, but paying attention to it. Because every time you drift away from something, there's information there. Something about what you're avoiding, what you don't understand, or what doesn't feel right. And that information is more useful than forcing yourself to stay. So the next time you feel distracted, don't rush to fix it. Pause and ask yourself one simple question. What's just changed? Because that moment, the one you usually ignore, might be the exact place where clarity begins.